Hi, my dear friends, Augustine. Today I'm explaining you Afghanistan modern history. In this, we are going to learn about the Great Game. And the Great Game, if you've read the novel written by Rudyard Kipling, Kim, okay, it had a term called Great Game. But this term Great Game describes the rivalry between the two greatest empires of that time. British Empire means British Indian Empire and Russian Imperial Empire. Now here, what was their plan is, now you can see over here, British India was here and Russian Empire was here. There was no connection between British India and Imperial Russian Empire. But there was one thing between Persian Empire, British Empire, and Imperial Russian Empire. That was Afghanistan. And Afghanistan was not ruled by British or either, you know, Russia. So what British thought is they will conduct few wars against Afghanistan so they can capture Afghanistan. And what they did, they conducted Anglo-Afghan wars. In the first Anglo-Afghan war, British India has faced a big defeat. In the second Anglo-Afghan war, they won and they had a control on the revenue and the military of Afghanistan. They established the control on Afghanistan nearly at the time of third Anglo-Afghan war. After it, British faced a big defeat again, like the first one. Now here, Afghanistan has established its own country, okay, and it became free on 19th August 2021. So in this slide, we learn about the Great Game and Anglo-Afghan War and how Afghanistan established its own country. Now we'll move on to the next slide. In this slide, you will see the person called Amanullah Khan. Now, after British fled, like after the defeat which faced by the British, Afghanistan became an independent nation. We know it. Now, Amanullah Khan, he took he became a prince. He became a sovereign prince of Afghanistan. But after 5 years, and nearly at 1926 time, he himself proclaimed as a king, and he declared that Afghanistan is a monarchy kind of government now, not emirate. On 14 January 1929, he himself fled to neighboring British India, to India, as the Afghan civil war began to escalate. Now, from British India, he went to Europe, and he was nearly there in Europe for 30 years. After after 30 years in exile, he died in Italy, which is in Europe again, in 1960. Now, after Amanullah, in 1933, a powerful ruler, Zayar Shah, and he's the long-serving king of Afghanistan from Durrani dynasty. Now, he served for nearly 39 years. Okay, and at his rule there was so many achievements. Okay, women's got few safeguard rules, even they had right to education. Many things were there, and this monarchy government was really great. In 1934, United States formally recognizes Afghanistan as a country. You can see over here. Now, if you've seen the successor part, it shows that monarchy abolished Dawood Khan as president of Afghanistan. Now, we have to know about Muhammad Dawood Khan. He was the cousin of, the king that time, Zahir Shah. He became the prime minister and looks to the communist nation for economic and military assistance. Okay, in 1973. Now, what happens after this? After he was a prime minister, he was a prime minister, but still he was under a king. Okay, in 1973 time, he abolishes monarchy. Okay, he abolishes monarchy. He overthrows the last king, Muhammad Zahir Shah, in a military coup, and he himself becomes the prime minister. Sorry, he himself becomes a president. Okay, the Republic of Afghanistan is established with firm ties to the USSR. In 1975 to 1977, this Muhammad Dawood Khan, he proposes a new constitution. And this constitution, had rules which safeguarded the women. Okay, they had right to education, and also he modernized the largely communist state. As he believed in communism, USSR also supported them because USSR was also under communism. Now you can see over here, here in the president of Afghanistan. After, if you see the succeeded by part, you can see one person named Noor Muhammad Tharaki. And we're going to learn about this person now. Noor Muhammad Tharaki and Babra Karmal. Okay, he's not Barbak Karmal, he's Babra Karmal. These both, they secretly formed a communist party, an Afghan communist party, in 1965. Now, when Khan was killed in a communist coup, okay, Noor Muhammad Tharaki, one of the founding members of Afghan Communist Party, takes control as a president, and Babra Karmal is named deputy prime minister. Now, they proclaim independence from Soviet influence and declare their policies to be based on Islamic principles, Afghan nationalism, and socio-economic justice. Taraki signs a friendship treaty with the Soviet Union, USSR. At the same time, conservative Islamic and ethnic leaders who objected to social changes introduced by Khan begin an armed revolt in the countryside. In June, Mujahideen, a guerrilla movement, they started in a guerrilla movement was created at that time. This guerrilla movement was created to battle the Soviet-backed government, this Soviet-backed government. Now, what happened here? In this particular war, in this particular battle, an American ambassador, Adolf Tubbs, was killed. Okay. The United States cuts off assistance to Afghanistan. A power struggle begins between, Taraki and Deputy Prime Minister Hafizullah Amin. There was a fight between Taraki and Hafizullah Amin. Now, Taraki, again, he was killed on September 14th in a confrontations with Amin supporters, Hafizullah Amin supporters. Now, USSR, after this assassination, USSR invades Afghanistan on December 24th. And on December 27th, Amins and other other followers of them were executed. And this person, you can see he is Noor Muhammad Taraki, and this person is Babra Karmal. This person he was the deputy prime minister. Now he becomes the prime minister of Afghanistan. Now when we move further. In 1982 part, nearly I think 4.3 million people fled to other countries in the civil war, which happened between 1979 to 1982, after the USSR invasions. And 2.8 million Afghans fled to the neighboring country Pakistan, and 1.5 fled to Iran. Okay, and Afghan guerrillas, means Mujahideen, they had control in rural areas of Afghanistan, whereas Soviet troops hold urban areas. In 1984, Saudi Islamist and a gentleman of that time in Saudi Arabia, Osama bin Laden, makes his first documented trip to Afghanistan to aid anti-Soviet fighters. The United Nations investigates reported human rights violations in Afghanistan. In 1986, the Mujahideen are receiving arms. Okay, they were receiving support. Okay, from the United States, Britain, and China with the help of Pakistan. Okay, in 1988, in the September time, the great, that time one of this gentleman, to be honest, he was termed as a gentleman for many people at that time, and he was Islamist from Saudi Arabia. He created or formed the group called Osama bin Laden with his other 15 Islamists. Now, what they wanted is they just wanted to continue their jihad or a holy war against Soviets and others, because they opposed the goal of pure nation governed by Islam. Now, because here again, Osama bin Laden became a terrorist because of, few people opposed the religion rule over there. This, unsecular rule over there, means it was not secular. In 1989, the US, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and the Soviet Union signed a peace agreement. Okay, accords in Geneva. guaranteeing Afghan independence again, and the withdrawal of 1 lakh Soviet troops. After all, in after this, a Republic of Afghanistan is again established. The president was Muhammad Najibullah. He was actually the strongest ruler of PDPA, and PDPA, I told you again, it was established by Nur Muhammad Taraki and Babura Karmal at that time. So there was one more powerful ruler, Muhammad Najibullah. Okay, he was appointed as the president of Afghanistan after Soviet withdrawal on 15th February 1989. According to the US intelligence agencies, they expected that this particular regime, this particular rule, will obviously collapse in next 3 to 6 months. But this rule continued till next 3 years, till 1992. And his government tried to solve the ongoing civil war on the grounds without the support of Soviet troops. And this was obviously Mujahideens were at the opposition again. But in 1992, this Mujahideen and other rebel groups, what they did, they deposed or they ousted Najibullah from power. And Ahmad Shah Massoud, legendary guerrilla leader, he was the greatest guerrilla leader of that time, leads the troops into the capital. United Nations offers protection to Najibullah. The Mujahideen, a group already beginning to fracture as warlords fight over the future of Afghanistan. Now, the president, Burhanuddin Rabbani, he was appointed as the president, and Ahmad Shah Massoud became the Minister of Defense. Became the Minister of Defense. Now in 1996, Taliban. Now, presently we know about Taliban. But then, in September 1996, Taliban returned to seize Kabul. I'll just give you a bit explanation. There was a civil war between 1992 to 1996. Okay, in this war, Mujahideen were at one more end, and Taliban and Al-Qaeda were at one more end. Okay, so now here, what happened is, like Taliban returned to seize Kabul and they became very powerful again. They won the war and they became very powerful. When they became powerful, they hanged the former president Najibullah and his brother in front of many people, Okay, in public, they hanged the former president Najibullah and his brother. Now Taliban, they had, within the hours, they had control over whole, like all the foreign affairs, or ministries of defense, security, and foreign affairs. Even they had control over presidential palace. Now Taliban formed a government. Now, the similar situation which happened now in 2021. It also happened in September 1996. That time, a rigidly strict version of Sharia was imposed upon the population. Like Taliban, like they imposed few strict rules according to their ideologies. Actually, these Talibans are Pashtuns. They are the tribal group which are at high numbers in Afghanistan. So one more thing is that you can see over here in allies part, in the friends part, you can see Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. Why is Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan included over there? What is this now? Actually, this is a group. Actually, they are Pashtuns in Pakistan. Okay, Pashtuns of Pakistan, they actually want, they want to be free from Pakistan and they want a country called Pashtunistan, or otherwise they want to be part of Afghanistan. But Pakistan is not ready for it. So Tehreek-e-Taliban, it is again a terrorist group formed, which is again against Taliban, Pakistan. And you can see opponents. You can see India, United States, United Kingdom, NATO is off. And you're also going to learn the relationship with India, the 1996 Taliban government relationship with India now. Now, this is the reasons. These are the few reasons which I feel. Buddhist Bamiyan temples were bombed. Temple was bombed in Afghanistan by Talibans, because this affected the ideologies of the Buddhist peoples. And one more thing was that IC-814 Indian airline flight, it was hijacked. It was hijacked because they had demand, There were five hijackers in the plane. They demanded for the release of 36 prisoners. Okay, but in that our Indian government released three people. Maulana Masood Azhar, the founder of Jaish-e-Mohammed, Ahmad Umar Syed Sheikh, Mustaq Ahmad Zargar. And now, when we talk about this hijack, how did they hijack? What is the plan? Like, we'll explore this first. You can see over here, first stopover. Rajasthan, the plane landed first in Amritsar, India, then in Lahore Airport, Pakistan. Then the third stopover was in Dubai. Okay, last stopover was in Kabul Airport. Here only the story begins. Here, the Taliban was supporting them, was supporting the hijackers. So India, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, they took few decisions and they released the three prisoners. The hijackers were okay with this, with this releasing of those three prisoners. But in the future, one of them became the dangerous terrorist person. He was Maulana Masood Azhar, and there were 176 passengers in it and five hijackers. There was only one death. Reason is these hijackers were blackmailing that we killed one person. If you still don't release them, we'll kill everyone. We'll blast this plane with the bombs with what they have. So this was one of the very like situation which affects the value called peace. Now 9/11 attacks. The attacks, which US will never forget, because these attacks were conducted by Al Qaeda, Osama bin Laden, and Ayman al-Zawahiri. Now here, nearly you can see over here 2,996 deaths. Oh, these many deaths. And even 25,000 people were injured. You can see the locations all out of US. And why is it called 9/11? Because it was conducted on 11th September 2001. Now, after this, after this 9/11 attacks, war on terror was imposed by the Bush administration, George Bush. Here, in this war on terror, they just had a motto to kill, like Osama bin Laden. They just wanted to abolish a group called Al Qaeda because they conducted the 9/11 attacks on US. Now here, presently, still the war on terror is there, but why is it again started? Actually, Barack Obama, he I think in 2014 time, he thought of what he thought is I think he released an plan to reduce the US troops. Okay, now but again it was started. Reason is Joe Biden, from he is now the part of this from 2021, and Boris Johnson from 2019, Macron from 2017, and Vladimir Putin from 2012 present. So you can see over here the four superpowers of this world against the other four dangerous terrorist groups. Here you can see Afghan Taliban, Pakistani Taliban, ISIL, and Al Qaeda. And there were nearly 8 lakh fatalities in that, and 37 million people were displaced. After this, on December 22nd, 2001, Hamid Karzai, a royalist and ethnic Pashtun, is sworn in as the leader of the interim government in Afghanistan. Karzai entered Afghanistan after living in exile for years in neighboring Pakistan. Karzai was elected leader of the 6-month government. In January 2004, Loya Jirga adopted, there's some kind of a small assembly, they adopted a new constitution now, a constitution for a Republic of Afghanistan. In October 2004, the first presidential elections, I think it was not first, to be honest, it's like after many days, because after a lot of dictatorship, after a lot of wars and all, they got elections, presidential elections, and nearly 10.5 million Afghans registered to vote and choose among 18 presidential candidates, including the interim leader Karzai, Hamid Karzai. And Hamid Karzai was elected because he got nearly 55% vote share among all the presidential candidates. And in 2005, the first parliamentary elections after more than 30 years were conducted. Okay, after more than 30 years, it was conducted. The peaceful vote leads to the parliament's first meeting in December. And they thought the happy things are back again. But in no time, again, Taliban and Al Qaeda, it was a bad news for Al Qaeda because they lost their, you know, leader, Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden is, he was the world's dangerous terrorist of that time. And he was killed by the US forces. And he was actually found in Abbottabad in Pakistan. In 2012, again, President Hamid Karzai calls for American forces to leave Afghan villages because a US soldier killed nearly 16 Afghan civilians inside their homes. In May 2014, Obama announces a timetable for significantly reducing US troop sizes in Afghanistan by 2016. But and again in September 2014, Ashraf Ghani became the president of Afghanistan in September. And again in 2019 February, US and Taliban, US and Taliban sign an agreement on a deal. Peace deal. But again, US withdraw it, I think, in May 2021 time. And in September 2019, Trump calls off peace talks after US soldier is killed in a Taliban attack. November 2020 now. Now this is the COVID period. This is the period when COVID was there. US announces plans to cut US troop size in half, down to 2,500 by January, days before Biden was inaugurated. So you can understand now Biden, after they were thinking of the peace was again being bought. But in April 2021, Biden announced his aim to complete US troop withdrawal by 9/11. Again by September 11th. US now, and on July 5th, 2021, US leaves Bagram airfield without telling the base's new Afghan commander. On August 10th, 2021, White House says Taliban takeover is not inevitable, following the US speedy withdrawal from the country. And on August 15th, our India's Independence Day and Afghanistan's independence was gone. On this day, Taliban, this Afghanistan government was collapsed, and Taliban took established its control over the capital city, Kabul, and also, throughout the Afghanistan. You can see a picture over here. Taliban now control nearly all of the country. On 9 July, you can see how was Taliban. But again, by the time of 16th August, Taliban has, it grew like something. Now, after this collapse of Afghanistan government and Taliban's, power, Taliban established its control throughout Afghanistan. Northern Alliance. This is not new. It is already set up, nearly years back by Ahmad Shah Massoud. You know about him. The legendary Mujahideen, the legendary guerrilla leader. And he was also known as the Lion of Panjshir. And the vice president of Afghan, who was elected as the vice president in 2019, Amrullah Saleh, along with I think Ahmad Massoud, the son of Ahmad Shah Massoud. Who is Ahmad Shah Massoud? They together again started the Northern Alliance, and they captured the Panjshir Valley from the Taliban. And this was the first step of success for Amrullah Saleh. And Amrullah Saleh declares himself as the caretaker president. Now, the group known as ISIS-K had long planned attacks on American personnel and others. That's one reason why President Biden said he wanted to limit the duration of US withdrawal from Afghanistan. On Thursday, on Thursday, nearly 13 US service members and more than 100 to 150 between that Afghan civilians were killed in an attack. Now US wants, like, Biden says that he will, you will be back with a more, like you can see over here, we will hunt you down and make you pay. Means now Biden is very serious on this attack, and in this 13 US service members were killed. And in US warns of specific creditable threat near the Kabul airport. It conducted drone strikes against ISIK and killed two high-profile targets, said by Pentagon. The next day, US hit back with a drone strike that killed two ISISK targets involved in airport attack. So, in the before days, they said that they'll do it. The next day, they implemented it. Now, a problem which India would have is Kashmir. I told you about Jaish-e-Mohammed, Masood Azhar. He's Masood Azhar. He was the prisoner who was, released at that hijack time, IC 814 flight hijack time. Now you see our Jammu Kashmir map. Here, we think that this is all part of India, but you can see over here, this much is Pakistan occupied Kashmir, and this is outside China, outside Chin. And you can see here, LOC and LAC. Just India has this much part of Jammu and Kashmir. Because why didn't India capture that Pakistan occupied Kashmir is in 1948 war, when and what happened, in that time what happened is, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel led his soldiers towards that Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Okay, when he led towards there, the war happened. I think what a treaty was signed is the king who was there, he was a Hindu over there. So obviously he was a Hindu. So what he told is he would mix up with India, and the Jammu Kashmir state will be part of India. He was also the friend of Jawaharlal Nehru ji. But Jawaharlal Nehru ji called up this war. Okay, this war was called up by Jawaharlal Nehru ji before this war, got an actual result. So Pakistan occupied that part of Kashmir and Ladakh part, and this was occupied by China, Aksai Chin. It's called as Aksai Chin. But now, Jaish-e-Mohammed wants Taliban's help for capturing Kashmir now, says the sources. They even want to capture all this part also, this Jammu Kashmir part also. So, and this Jaish-e-Mohammed also conducted attacks like 2001 parliamentary attack, 2008 Mumbai attacks, and even 2019 Pulwama attack. In the parliamentary attack, few were killed, and the Mumbai attacks, hundreds of people were killed, and in Pulwama attack, nearly 44 people were killed, along with 40 soldiers in it. Thank you, and this is all about Afghanistan's modern history. I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Thank you.